This is a bit of a follow-up to my last video on Total War Pharaoh, the one where I acknowledged the announcement, because I forgot to go over something that I said I would. I'll get back to that later, and then I never got back to it, so here we go. I need to get this included because it's important. So we have a poll here on the shithole subreddit, and remember, this place is the biggest bootlicker hive on the internet. No one has their nose farther up CA's arse than the people on here. It's deliberate and it's taken a lot of time and a lot of work from the people that run this place and who they answer to get this place like this. Remember, I made a video called Why Total War's last success was 8 years ago, and this was a really mild video, unoffensive, and because I made this video and even alluded to Warhammer being inferior to what we had 8 years ago, because I only talked about Troy in this, I never even talked about Warhammer, I just ignored Warhammer at this point. I still had people from this place just mob me and harass me for months. So that is how sensitive they are. It's ludicrous. These people are fucked. You can listen to this video for yourself and you can see it is so mild. I said way worse stuff about Rome 2, for example, back in 2013, 2014, before I disappeared for 5 years, and that's part of it. I was off the scene for 5 years until Three Kingdoms, and then I came back and returned to what I was saying, and these people were not used to it. They were not used to having someone like me around saying that their little pet toy that is their saviour is actually garbage, or even alluding to it, even hinting at the possibility that that was the case, and they couldn't handle it. These people are fucking losers on this place, and the lengths that they'll go to defend their fucking toy are unbelievable. Check it for yourself, it's all documented in my Total Decline series. If you don't believe me and think I'm exaggerating, I'm not exaggerating. And we've got a poll now to measure the temperament of these people, because this is the most captive and attentive audience that Creative Assembly and Total War has on the whole internet. So if you're going to find a receptive audience to a new Total War game anywhere, it's going to be here. And we can see just how captive and excited they are with this poll which has been done. This is a really good poll. I'm so glad someone made this, because if I was CA right now, I would have alarm bells ringing over these results. We have just under 10k votes, 8.5k, and out of that we only have a quarter, or just over a quarter, 25-30% of people given anything that could even be described as a positive result. There's no way a poll like this done for Troy the same time before its launch would have been this bad. No way. So we've got a bit of a normal distribution. You've got your 3,000 in the middle of the curve, and then you've got 2,000 flanking on either side for not very much, or hyped, and then you've got not at all, very disappointed, which I added my vote to, and very hyped. And remarkably, the not at all exceeds the very hyped. That's another thing that's remarkable here. So you've got a normal distribution where it's slanted towards apathy. That is bad. That is really, really bad. A new Total War game just got announced, and the most absolutely consumer gurgling CA's balls place on the internet are saying loud and clear they don't care about this game. This is really bad. This looks terrible. How can this happen? I'll tell you how it happens. Total War discarded its actual audience. I explained this in my video here. Here we go. Attila just overtook Troy. Troy is fucking floundering hard. Where did the 100,000 people that bought and played Rome 2 on launch day in 2013 go? Where are they all? We have decade-old games outperforming a game that launched less than 2 weeks ago. Also, I should point out that in May 2023, Troy currently has 300 average players, so it's lost a further 75%. This is what I'm talking about, super disposable games, games that have no life expectancy. This is the slash and burn approach, as I described it at one point, slash and burn. This is the future of Total War. Either they somehow figure out a way to keep milking this extremely soft Warhammer consumer base before it moves on, or Creative Assembly come back to the table to beg for scraps from their actual fan base, a fan base that they've pissed on repeatedly. Remember Melkor, the guy that begged for a Rome Total War remaster for years, and that told me to just get on board with him and be nice to CA as recently as 6 months ago. He's gone now. Rome Remastered, and he's still gone, and we get along a lot better now. Was so shit that it completely killed his channel. When the dust settled after Rome reheated, he was getting the least views he had at any time in the past 2 years, and someone on my subreddit noticed that when you look at concurrent player counts for older Total War games, there's a massive drop-off in the player counts that coincides with the release of the reheat. Rome Reheated's release demonstrably disgusted a significant proportion of Total War players into dipping out of Total War completely. They didn't go to Warhammer, they didn't start playing Troy, they are gone. They're gone like the 100,000 people that were all playing Rome 2 at the same time on its launch day and saw a fucking dumpster fire before them. So even with the Warhammer train about to hit the end of the line, CA continues to piss on their actual fans. It'll be interesting to see who still cares about Total War in 5 years and how CA manages to pull off. It isn't looking good. Let's hope for their sake that there are more Chinas or Warhammers out there so they can continue this slash and burn strategy. So that explains it. They've basically just abandoned their actual Total War fans, people that are fans of new Total War games, and replaced it with a Warhammer consumer soft audience that is situated on this subreddit and on their Discord to an extent, and they just don't care about anything that isn't Warhammer. I called it 2 years ago. I probably called it even before that, but at least I've called it on video for all to see for all time, and I think that explains it. And when you look at the comments on this poll, it gets even more interesting. You can see exactly why people are apathetic, as these results show. Don't like the era at all. It's essentially Troy, but in a different part of the world. Not really, they're still using the same engine, the map design looks the same. Neutral, way too expensive. I get that it plays sometime before Rome 2, but let me ask you, what will be the difference? Anyone taking bets that this more or less turns into Total War Age of Mythology with Sphinx magic and shit? Exactly, I've called that as well. That's what they did to Troy, they just Warhammerized it explicitly, they made it blatant that it was just a Warhammer clone by putting in all the stuff that Warhammer had. All the flying units that fly in little swarms. The Cyclopses, the Corybantes, the lion-headed men, the Sirens, the Harpies, the Hydra, what else? I hope not, they already ruined Troy by half-assing it to begin with and putting more fantasy crap in later and charging money for it. If you're going to do a game like that, it has to be intended from that way from the outset. First Total War I've been looking forward to since Troy and Rome 2, a rare, interested one. Meh, boring setting, boring unit variety, boring legendary leader focus instead of dynasties. Unit variety, well done for saying unit variety instead of using the weird crutch phrase of diversity. I'm mostly disappointed, I don't care, but definitely not disappointed about its existence. I'm mostly disappointed in the greedy business practices that CA are becoming more bold about. Oh, cosmetic packs, unhappy about that. Hyped, since I may be able to get my dad to play it as well, since he likes Egypt. See, that's the only people they're going to get to do this. I guess. God, this is bleak. What the hell happened to CA? Neutral, as I don't mind CA making a game. I don't mind them making a game. Ringing endorsement, glowing. Not at all, it will be a saga game like Troy. Yeah, except it's not a saga game, whatever this all means. Massively overpriced. It's not a saga game, whatever that means. Not at all, I'm very disappointed. Looking forward to Total War trying out new things than repeating the same old over and over again. Yeah, we're meant to be going forward, they're just going backwards. Got a bad feeling about this one. Given the price, I certainly won't be getting it on release. After a few years when it drops down to $20. This game just seems like greed. Faction pack cosmetics. People talking about Medieval 3 or Empire 2. I'm just not interested in the setting or the time period much. Waiting for Empire and Medieval 3. I don't really play historical Total War. See, he's only here for fucking Warhammer shite. Wait for reviews or in gameplay. More of a Warhammer fan than anything, so historical Total War games don't do much for me. Yeah, exactly. I'm only here for Warhammer. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? I'm not disappointed, but I won't buy or play it. I just simply have no interest at all. I don't care. I'm here for Warhammer. Wow, that could be a thumbnail. Wish it was Empire 2, to be honest. The game is not only more fun, but needs a modern sequel more than Troy does. What the fuck? Someone hyped because of this shit? Where is the tired of hearing about it option? My god, it's only been a day as of then. Wow. I don't think not at all and very disappointed should go together. I'm not hyped even slightly, but I'm not disappointed or anything. I just don't care. Wow. Pharaoh needs to convince me. At first I thought it was Dung Beetle Total War. I'm not pre-ordering. Don't care for the setting. Yep, so that sums it up. You can see exactly what these people think. I like how the poll just ends up being a perfect bell curve. Yeah, normal distribution, exactly, well observed. Last game I actually bought and played was Shogun 2. I don't like the fantasy scenarios at all, so pretty hyped for a new historical title. Plus hoping for Romans as a faction. Yep, so you've got people that don't buy these games, and you've got people that are only here for Warhammer. So they're just stuck between two balls of dung at the moment. An almost perfect Gaussian distribution. So it's been like that for 3 days. Not very much. I don't really care. Cautiously optimistic. I won't play it. Yep, it's doomed, guys. Calling it here. It's doomed. And then, if we look at an identical poll that I did on my channel with 1,000 votes and counting 11 hours ago, you see a completely different distribution. So this is the distribution that you've got when you appeal to something more resembling the old Total War fanbase, the actual Total War fanbase, not the Warhammer consumer, soft, cultivated, marketed to audience of r/Total War. The grotesque shithole subreddit that's so sensitive and easily hair-triggered about anyone suggesting their little pet toy isn't the be-all and end-all, that they're willing to just absolutely swarm and harass them. Here is what it looks like when you have just normal fans of Total War. It's completely different from a normal distribution. It is a fucking absolute cascade, an avalanche of apathy. Look at it. Not at all very disappointed. 45%, not very much, 31%. So you have 76, 3/4 of these people that voted on this, which isn't just my audience, but that is what makes up the majority of this. 75% of my audience do not care about Pharaoh. A further 20% are neutral, and then you only have 6% of people that are at all positive. And I bet you some of these are CA employees and troll responses, like absolute troll votes that are doing it just for the bants. 6%. So the actual reality of what they're appealing to that is here right now is somewhere between these results and these results. Somewhere between them. A normal distribution that is neutral, slanted, apathetic, and an absolute cascade of apathy. An apathy avalanche over here. Alright lads, time to look at the responses on my poll now. I'm going to do most recent... No, I'm going to do oldest first. Let's do that. Time period is interesting, I'll stand by that. Don't expect them to make that historically accurate but still fun experience. No, I expect them to make another Troy. They'll make another Troy. If it has single entity hero units, I won't even bother. The characters are bodyguard units, I might look into it. After the abandonment, after just 2 years of Three Kingdoms and the latest fix to Shogun 2, that broke its mod manager, I've put CA on my never buy again list permanently. Honestly, Pharaoh is non-entity to me compared to Ultimate General. Total War Pharaoh will be typical shit from CA. It makes sense for a Saga title, but I'm not buying it. It would be a miracle if the game releases and it's anywhere near the level of Medieval 2 or Shogun 2. I'm excited about it being analysed to pieces. People are more excited for my videos analysing it than they are for the game. I couldn't give a single shit about the next Turdball CA pushes. Oh man. Who wanted this? Like, really, who wanted this? We all wanted a Medieval 3 or Empire 2. We all. Nope. I've written off the franchise, this guy says. Don't really care one way or the other. I'm interested in how much they're going to mess this one up. You watch, it'll be Troy 2.0 but suck even more and have more DLC money grubbing in it. It's not a Total War game, so not at all. Another reskinned Three Kingdoms, Troy Warhammer, a disgrace. Well said. Yep, and there's a lot of that. So that's what these people here think, the ones that are on the ball about this stuff, I would say. They're calling it like I'm calling it, a Troy clone, a Warhammer clone. Because Troy is just Warhammer. And that's the result there. So that gives you a feel for what this game is up against here. You've got the softest audience you can imagine here on the other hand, and then you've got a hard audience here, and neither of them are into this. Neither of them. So they can't be appealing to the people that are here right now. They can't be appealing to anyone that currently knows what Total War is. They're appealing to a completely new audience. That's what they're having to do. How are they going to do that? How are they going to market this game to get the attention of people that aren't already looking, that aren't already captivated? I don't know how they're going to do that, but it's not looking good. Especially when they're doing stuff like this. The Microtransactions. Total War got cancer 3 days ago on the shithole subreddit. 4,000 votes. So the most gullible digital figurine collecting shithole is coming out against microtransactions. Isn't this surprising? Skins for units will appear in Total War Pharaoh, and I believe that this metastasis needs to be cut out before our favourite series of games died in the hands of greedy publishers who require developers to remove their favourite features. Combat animations as an example, and add various ways of monetization that are absolutely not needed in the game. Do not pre-order and do not buy skins for units. Show that you do not need them. Well said, well said. Or am I alone in my opinion? Obviously not, because you have 4,000 upvotes with 88% upvoted. Well done to the people here that actually got this right. If only there was someone out there that could have warned you that this was coming. If only. While you were all over there getting up to this. And while we're here, something else that's remarkable is that people are starting to point out that there's a lot of stuff being reused from Troy, which was my hypothesis in my last video. This is just a Troy reskin, a Troy remake, and Troy itself is just a remake of Warhammer. It's just a Warhammer clone. Total War has been Warhammerized after all, and I've heard that Attila is the basis for every single Total War game to come out since, and that there's just branching code bases. So the amount of recycling is off the charts here. I just noticed a guy pick one hilarious detail over the latest Facebook post about the battle maps. One of them is literally a Troy map, like the exact same 3D assets, placement and composition with just a river added in. They're literally slamming Troy assets in this game and labeling and selling it as a whole new game. From the footage and images so far, it's clear that everything is a rip-off from Troy, advertised as a new game, whereas it should be advertised as what it is, an expansion of Troy. Yep, and that was posted on one of my posts, and that was remarkable. I'd like to see the exact thing they're talking about here. But I have my own to add to this that's funny. So someone posted on my Discord, for anyone who still needs confirmation that this is literally reskinned Troy, you've got a lion's head with a horn underneath it, and this is Egypt. You've got the pyramid here. Here is the symbol. And then if you go back to Troy, you've got Memnon, ruler of Ethiopia. You've got the lion's head with the horn facing left. And then down here, you've got a lion's head facing right with the horn underneath it. You've got the same lion with the horn in Egypt. You've got the same lion with a horn in Troy. Is that a placeholder? And if it's a placeholder, why is that? Why is it that they're using Troy stuff as placeholders? Unless, of course, there's a lot that's just been ported over and they're just reskinning, which is what it seems like. And I should say, you've got to feel sorry for the people at CEA Sofia in Bulgaria, because these are professionals, these are creatives, these are game developers that are trying to do what they're supposed to. They're doing their job. And when you consider what I've just shown you about the apathy that shows Pharaoh's already DOA, it looks like they're just being given a futile task. They're being asked to make a game that people don't want, people are not excited for, and that it's hard to see this game finding an audience with. To me, it just looks like they're doomed. They're being given an impossible task, and it's going to be a thankless task because they're probably going to get crunched and have to work towards a implausible, unrealistic deadline, and they're going to have to ship a game that, if anyone even pays attention to it, it's probably going to get slated for not being what they want or being buggy or broken or whatever. It's so disappointing. You have all this money and ostensibly a lot of talent and capability that's just being put on a project that is pointless or doomed. These people could just be given money and time and professionals to make a new Total War. They could go back to something like the Shogun 2 engine and try and make something similar to Shogun 2 or Medieval 2, like just a gameplay oriented approach to game design, and do something different that people at least want. And they can't do it because they're being tasked to make a Troy clone. That's what they've been given to do. Sega and CA have decided that for them, and they've got to do that now. It just seems sad. It's just such a waste. Is this game going to just be given away again on Epic like Troy was? It seems like it to me. Something like that's going to happen. Is this game going to just get cancelled because they've looked at these results here and are shitting themselves? You have to wonder. It's just not looking good. Let me know what you think. I think this is absolutely damning. Remember, this is the most captive audience they could ever expect. These results are totally skewed towards the consumers that exist. This is the softest audience they're ever going to create for themselves, I think, and they just don't care. I think they've doomed themselves with their strategy here. Get ready for the marketing to either be non-existent because the game gets cancelled, or off the charts because they have to try and get something out of this. They'll probably just sell it to Epic again. The game will be a write-off. Let me know what you think. If you like my work to the extent of wanting to support it, then I've got a Patreon just for that purpose. I try to give out perks including insider monthly updates on what I'm thinking and what I've got planned. Special thanks to Matteo Olivetti.